It has aged well and holds its price well. This is the last fully German-built generation of the Corsa, which delighted customers with its mechanical robustness and relative simplicity. There's no shortage of cars on the market, both from private owners and fleet owners. Let's find out what's wrong with this model and whether it's worth buying. When looking for a used B-segment car, you can't rule out the Corsa. It's a solid, well-designed car that, when it debuted in 2014, caught the era of extreme downsizing but avoided electrification. It's available with a diesel engine, an LPG system, and in the sporty OPC version. The car's interior is in keeping with the B-segment standards of the period. The cabin comfortably accommodates adults sitting in a fairly upright position. This is the biggest difference in feel between the Corsa E and the newer Corsa F, which feels like a small, compact car. The rear seats are quite comfortable and offer plenty of room for adults, and the trunk measures 280 to 285 liters, 3.5, which was standard at the time, although some models, like the Renault Clio and Skoda Fabia, offered trunks exceeding 300 liters. The Corsa's interior will appeal to those who value quality materials and craftsmanship, as well as its equipment. A heated steering wheel was even available as an option. Yes, everything is firm, but the fit and feel of individual components are typically higher end than mainstream B-class models. Ergonomics are impeccable, although if the car is equipped with a multimedia screen, which was already available back then, not everyone will appreciate its extremely low position. The air conditioning controls also often require a bit of bending. The Corsa drives well, it handles well, and offers adequate suspension comfort. It has electric power steering, which makes maneuvering in the city easier. The platform is derived from the Corsa D, so it doesn't differ much from its predecessor in this respect. Engines in the Opel Corsa E, which one to choose? The Corsa E's engine lineup is quite extensive. Petrol engines were, of course, the most popular. Diesels make up a small fraction of the market, but the model is popular enough to be readily available. It's worth noting that the Corsa entered an era of extreme downsizing, so a 1.0 turbo petrol engine generating 90 or 115 horsepower was available from the start of production, but it wasn't very popular due to its price. When it comes to matching the engine to the car, the optimal unit is the naturally aspirated 1.4-liter petrol engine with 90 horsepower. For those on a budget, it can be equipped with an LPG system or installed. This engine is dynamic enough for all conditions, performs well in the city, and with skillful driving is also fuel efficient. The only downside of this version is the 5-speed manual gearbox, but the optional 6-speed automatic, Classic, is a huge plus. However, it's worth cautioning against other engines paired with the Easytronic automatic transmission, the 1.2-liter petrol and 1.3-liter diesel. This is a unique automated transmission that not everyone will like, and mechanics are reluctant to repair it. An alternative to the 1.4 petrol engine is the supercharged, small 1.0-liter engine with 3 cylinders. This unit offers better dynamics, even in the 90 horsepower variant, is more fuel efficient, and comes with a 6-speed manual gearbox. However, it's so rare that opinions are difficult to obtain, and isolated engine failures can be interpreted in 2 ways. This is especially true since Opel recommended oil changes every 30,000 kilometers, which could have contributed to some of the problems. If you're looking for dynamic performance and a 6-speed gearbox, the supercharged version of the 1.4 is a better choice than the 1.0 turbo, although they are actually slightly different engines. The supercharger only produces 100 horsepower in the detuned version, but it delivers a whopping 200 Newton-meters. The 150 horsepower version was available in the sporty GSI and is essentially the same engine. Both can be equipped with an LPG system. At the other end of the spectrum from this engine is the 1.2-liter gasoline engine, which produces only 70 horsepower, but is sufficient for city driving or short distances. It is structurally related to the 1.4-liter engine. Those who value low fuel consumption, not low maintenance costs, will find good, proven 1.3 diesels suitable for their needs. They can handle high mileage when properly maintained, but generate the highest repair costs when not. The 75 horsepower version promises subjectively better dynamics than the 1.2-liter gasoline engine, while the 95 horsepower version is similar to the 100 horsepower 1.4 turbo. Of course, fuel consumption can be as much as half as much. For hot hatch enthusiasts, the OPC model was introduced, differing significantly in terms of mechanics from the standard Corsa and, above all, designed for high-speed driving. However, Opel didn't continue the tradition of its predecessor, which was available in two sporty versions. Nevertheless, I remember the Corsa EOPC as a very good car, one of the best in its class. However, it wasn't very popular compared to the cheaper hot hatches from its competitors. Opel Corsa E. Faults and problems. The Opel Corsa E is similar not only in design but also in operation to its predecessor. Overall, it's mechanically sound, but prone to minor faults. The most common faults involve the radio, windshield wipers, ignition coils, and, in diesel engines, the EGR valve or a stretched timing chain. Gasoline engines also have a timing chain, but it's not very sensitive. Although it's worth noting that replacing a complete set of variable timing belts costs over €2,000, including parts. Chain stretching can occur in cars with infrequent oil changes. Another problem, even after tens of thousands of kilometers, is engine leaks, petrol and diesel. It's worth repairing this during a major service, such as a timing belt replacement. However, after higher mileage, you simply have to get used to the sweating of engines. Another minor issue is the faulty manifold in the 1.4 turbo engine. This is a valve regulating the system's pressure. If it's not working properly, the manifold can crack. Opel service centers are aware of this defect and should check the valve during every oil change. The main difference in terms of service and repairs between the 1.4 and 1.4 turbo engines is not only the presence of a supercharging system, but also a dual-mass flywheel, approx €1,300 for the part alone. How much should you pay for a used Corsa E? The market is clearly divided between privately owned and fleet vehicles. It's important to remember that the Corsa E was still a model without air conditioning in its basic version. This will avoid surprises after purchasing, say, in the fall. The most expensive are, of course, the newest cars from the end of production, which cost just over €50,000, and the OPC, which costs around €55,000 to €60,000. Among the most expensive engine versions are, of course, the 1.4-liter gasoline engines. Turbo versions are significantly fewer, but they remain priced at €30,000 to €40,000. Even sparsely equipped, white cars from the 2019 model year cost over €50,000. The lowest prices, even below €20,000, are achieved by ex-fleet vehicles with mileage around 200,000 kilometers. There are also a few Corsa vans for sale, that one truck, for around €10,000 to €20,000. Diesel start at around €25,000. Is it worth buying an Opel Corsa E? This question could be answered unequivocally affirmatively, were it not for the competition. The B segment is very strong, and the Corsa isn't exactly at the top. So, if you're looking for a used car in this class, the Corsa isn't out of the question, and finding a nice one could be a deal breaker. But without considering the competition, such as the Hyundai i20, Kia Rio, Skoda Fabia, Ford Fiesta, or Seat Ibiza, it would be a huge mistake. However, the Corsa E excels in certain specific situations. For example, if you're looking for a simple petrol engine with an automatic transmission, the 1.4 automatic is perfect. The same can be said for the more powerful turbo version. I recommend the 1.4T. The Corsa E also offers a wide range of comfort features in the right configuration.